I've worked for the Air Force, and it's a large organization that has some exceptional sexual harassment policies, and even at that, we haven't been able to completely stop it. I've also worked for a small company, and when you have the things that what I'm concerned with is going to the point where our largest employer as a unit are small businesses here in Pennsylvania. With the reduction in the number of employees necessary on some of the bills, what do you guys see as some potential issues? Because when you're in something like the Air Force or a large corporation where the person who's ultimately responsible is very far removed from the activity down on the floor, there have to be investigative processes. There are the types of training that go on to establish a corporate culture versus what is necessary for just a small business to be able to stay in business with all the regulations and such we put on them now. What are some of the potential fallbacks or potential issues you guys see with the legislation that's pending?
Well, Larry can certainly speak to the impact that going from 4 to 1 employee may have from the employee rights perspective. I can just say from my, again, anecdotal perspective, I don't represent many employers that have only 5 or 6 employees. Most of my clients in these types of situations satisfy the 15 employee threshold for coverage under Title VII. And for the ones that don't, it's really close. It's really close. So I would be guessing, but making an educated guess, that going from 4 to 1 wouldn't create a spike in harassment claims here in the Commonwealth.
I think the dynamic between the larger company and the smaller company is such that the larger company, as you said, has the HR person, they have the training in place, they have different levels of management. What we see with the smaller companies is quite often the perpetrator is the owner, or is the person, the owner's son, or someone in a family. And in those cases, unfortunately, those folks, number one, they're the king of their world. What they say goes, and if you don't want to abide by it, you're out on the street. So, there is protection to a certain extent with some smaller companies, 15 to 20, 25, or what have you. But with the smaller companies, it's, whatever the owner says is going to go. So it's not a matter of training, because the owner should know better. It's a matter of the culture and whether that culture is going to follow the rules voluntarily or involuntarily because there are consequences.